New Thought Media Network proudly presents Lindsay Leimbach, Practicing Infinite Possibilities, Fridays at 10 a.m. Mountain Time, 9 a.m. Pacific. And now, here's Lindsay.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to PIP, you are watching Practicing Infinite Possibilities. And I hope you have some coffee with you or some water. I love this mug. Think happy thoughts, right? Right. So let's go there. Today, we're going to be talking about self-love, not selfishness, self-love. And what does that mean? Well, first, it means I'm excited I get to finally wear this sweater. You see, it's my Valentine sweater that says love on it. And second, it means that I'm really happy to be here because we need to learn how to dive in to this infinite amount of love that we have inside of ourselves. And quite often, this love inside of ourselves gets shadowed over, or you could say layered over, or we could say has clouds over because of the thoughts that we think. We're not good enough, no one loves us, we're unlovable. It's these thoughts that end up putting all these layers on top of ourselves. But if we take away those layers and we go down to our authentic self, we are love. We are the essence of love. We are given God's right coming through us of radiating love. And it is there. It is an illusion that love isn't there. So where do we find that love? We find that love inside ourselves. Quite often we seek it outside of ourselves because we can't feel it inside of ourselves. And then we expect other people to give us love, and they haven't done the work. They haven't done the work of self-love, which means they have all the clouds. They have all the layers. Where did they get it? I don't know, childhood experiences, things that people told them. And so then you seek love from them, and they haven't even touched the love inside of themselves. And then we get disappointed. So we all have to take a breath and realize it's an inside job. It's an inside job. And today we're going to talk about love as an inside job. Hey, Trudy, thank you for being here. I really appreciate it. Let's see. Let me get back to my banners. I have been telling you all about this wonderful meditation I do on Insight Timer. It has 7 affirmations. It's morning meditation by Jonathan Liam on Insight Timer. It's completely free. And I've been telling you about different affirmations every week in the last episodes. And today's one that's in this 9-minute meditation, the 4th affirmation that he says is, I love myself unconditionally because it is essential to my happiness. I love the person I am, and I do not need other people's approval to love myself fully. Wow, isn't that wonderful? And I say that to myself. I say this affirmation every day. I actually have it printed out for myself. Let me see if this is it. All his affirmations. And so sometimes I look at it, or I can have it in the car, and I remind myself, because quite often when we are feeling like we don't have enough love and we don't feel lovable, it's because we're seeking outside approval for love. However, we don't have control of the work somebody else has done on themselves. And if they are not loving themselves, then how can they love you? They are a work in progress. I'm a work in progress. This is where you understand everyone's a work in progress, and not to have a judgment mind. This is the mindfulness, accepting the moment without telling yourself the story, that judgment mind that I need that from them to be whole inside. we all know to be whole inside, I need to do the work on me. I can't control them. So when I need to feel love, I need to know how to access it within myself. I need to know how to thin out those clouds that are hiding your meadow or your Christ consciousness or your Buddha nature or your love from your God, hiding that. And we need to do that. And how do you do that? Well, this is why they sell things that say, think happy thoughts. It's how you're thinking that's putting up the clouds or taking the clouds off. It's how you're thinking that's not allowing your heart and your mind to connect. So we want to have the love from our heart to connect into our mind. So this is what it's talking about. Self-love is actually something in which you already have, but we need to thin out the illusion that we don't. So it's not something, I just want to really emphasize, the love inside of you is already there. It's your illusion that you don't have it, that allows you not to access it. It's not that you need to find it. It's there. It just needs to uncover it. You need to take off the other things on top of it, of all those illusions, of all those stories that you're not good enough. And of course, in our human world that we live in now, we get bombarded all the time. You're not smart enough. You're not pretty enough. You're not good enough. And you need to seek something outside of yourself to feel whole. You need to buy the drug or buy the car or buy the house or have a new wife or have a new husband or whoever it is. You need to do all these outside changes to feel good on inside. And that's what capitalism and commerce run on. And it's okay that this is what it runs on, as long as you're aware that that is an illusion. That is not the truth. The truth is the love is already inside of yourself. So it's an inside job. So we're working on that inside job. So let's take this a little bit further. I found this wonderful article. And so I want to give the lady, Suzanne Newsom. I'm sorry if I heard her name. She wrote an article for Psychology Today. So as I was trying to set up today's talk, and I realized it was a great article, The Path to Passion, Happiness, Relationships, Self-Love, Selfishness, Narcissist, and Arrogant. Well, anyway, that's a lot to say. But what in her article, she set up some really good points. And I thought that this would work well for us today. She said, and she put in this article, these myths and these truths. So I'm just sharing some of them. Myth. Self-love is a new age concept brought forward through selfies and social media. That is a myth, okay? Truth. Self-love has been around since ancient Greek philosophy, around 350 BC. And I actually would like to say I took that one extent further. It's if you follow into Hinduism, which is way older than that, and Buddhism, which is coming out of India, there is lots and lots of examples of saying that you need to access the inside job, the love from the inside. So a lot of these wonderful philosophies around the world from really the beginning of a time is saying you need to take responsibility on how you feel about yourself. Because if you're feeling negative about yourself, then you reflect that out to the rest of the world and you see the world negatively. But if you feel love for yourself, if you feel the essence that you are love, that you are the light, you are the essence, you are the divine spirit of God manifesting in human form, and you walk out into the world, you bring the light and you attract more love, you attract light. So this idea of new age self-love is not true. It's been around forever. There's a lot of wonderful new age thinkers and writers, such as Wayne Dyer and Deepak Chopra and Ernest Holmes, and it goes on, who really explain it quite well in our terminology. But if you go back into the history and into Jesus and Buddha and even Socrates, well, really Aristotle is the first Western Greek philosopher that really dived in and started to talk about loving yourself so you can take full responsibility and that you do the work on the inside instead of thinking about doing the work on the outside. So I love that point. Here's another terrific point. Myth. Self-love makes you selfish, narcissist, and arrogant. Because a lot of people, I'm just loving myself. Leave me alone. I can do what I want. And so you think, oh my God, self-love means that I'm going to be arrogant and it's my way or the highway. That's a myth. Self-love, real true self-love, when we're talking about going down into that light, into that Christ consciousness, that Buddha nature that's already inside of us. Self-love makes you more positive, confident, and resilient. So I like so much what she said about this, and I'm going to read this little paragraph on how she explains it, because I think she just nails this concept. In truth, narcissism and arrogance are both signs of deep lack of self-confidence. So in other words, being unconfident is really where narcissism and bullying nature and self-absorbed nature comes from. It's a lack of self-acceptance and it's a lack of self-love. Self-love isn't about you ignoring everyone else's needs, becoming super obsessed with yourself and everything you do, or behaving like you're the king and the queen of the world. That is not self-love, okay? Instead, it's about having more positive relationships with yourself in which you take care of yourself, support yourself, and believe in yourself. It makes you more resilient against challenges and keeps you motivated and working towards your dreams because you believe in them and you believe in your ability. Self-love eliminates your patterns of negative talk and replaces them with bold and confident cheerleading. So let's talk a little further about that. When someone is self-absorbed, it doesn't mean they're self-loving. Basically, someone who is self-absorbed or who is narcissistic or very arrogant is that they don't love themselves. They don't have the confidence. So they build this huge wall around themselves. And they're like, don't you cross over my wall. I'm just taking care of myself. It's because they feel broken inside. It's not because they feel like they're in love inside. Someone who has a lot of self-love and has this ability of saying, you know, I can handle this. I have love inside of me. No matter what the challenges are, I'll be resilient. I can listen to other people's ideas and I'm not going to crumble. I can have constructive criticism on myself and I'm not going to crumble, because their opinions I can learn and grow from, but their opinions don't become my opinions. So someone who is feeling really lack and hurt inside, they put up that armor. Self-love is where you can be vulnerable and say, I can take down that armor on the outside so I can have true living experiences, really experiencing my relationship with the world, really being alive. And no matter what's happening on the outside, it's okay because I can handle the inside. So I don't go into that fight, flight, freeze reaction. When you have self-love, you have self-awareness and you have self-acceptance. And when you fall down, you don't judge yourself as broken. You say, oh, learning experience. I care about myself enough to get back up. Do you see the difference? This is a really important thing for you to understand. So when someone is yelling at you saying, I'm just loving myself and it has to be my way. I don't know about that. I can't judge that statement because I don't know what they're thinking inside of that. Maybe they do need to have strong boundaries, but in the same difference, they don't need to be coming from fear. And that's the big word. Someone who is making boundaries to say that I need to do this to protect myself, or I need to do this because it's healthy for myself. I'd say that would be better to say. If they're coming from a state of love, then that's great. That's self-love. But if they're coming from a state of fear and they're actually fear driven, okay, then that can come across and can be selfish, narcissistic, arrogant, bullying. So it's really when you are doing something, you're like, am I actually being selfish, or am I putting up boundaries for self-love? Ask, what is your intention? Where is it coming from? Are you doing it because you're fearful of a situation, you don't want to get involved of it, and you don't think you can handle it? Well, then that's coming from fear. That's not coming from that down deep given love. You want to come from, I need to have strong boundaries because I love myself and it's the kind thing to do for myself. And in me being kind to myself, I'm taking care of myself. And if I'm taking care of myself, I'm being responsible for myself. And if I'm being responsible for myself, I can also then learn and grow from other people, and I'm not threatened by other people's ways. So you have to check in. Check in. Are you having anxiety? Then that's fear-based, and you need to work through it. It's okay if you feel fear, but you have to then work through it and think, what is the trigger? What is the cloud, remember? Or the layers that are covering up your heart, so we can get them off and feel the love and allow ourselves to be resilient. And when we're resilient, then we can allow ourselves to be vulnerable. And when we're vulnerable, then we can allow ourselves to try new things, to grow and learn with that self-confidence that I'm going to be okay. That's a lot, I know, but it's important for us to understand that. Okay, let me get down to the next one. Self-love is basically, this is the myth, is basically self-care. The truth is self-care is one form of self-love. Absolutely. I want us to think about that. So, yes, self-love is basically self-care. No, self-love is, think of it as a big umbrella. It's huge, this concept of self-love. Part of that umbrella or that sweeping statement is self-care. Look at our doggies. I just got our visitor. That's Yogi. Now Buster over here is jealous. I love them. So let's get into that. Self-care. Going and getting a massage, exercising right, using nice products on your skin or your hair, reading good books. All these wonderful things are self-care, and they are part of self-love. You do need to take care of your temple. You need to take care of the tool of your mind, so we can connect our mind and our heart, so we can center ourselves with self-love. But self-love is so much bigger than just self-care. Self-love is the ability to accept. This is the big word, to accept yourself as you are. Tara Brach calls it radical acceptance. You can hear this. It really is a foundation of self-love, is to accept the situation of what's going on, and then having that resilience and having that power within yourself, that you know that you can make it, that you can connect to your God inside of you, and everything is going to be okay, even if you don't understand it. You know, my dogs, I do not know what they're doing. Why are you guys acting up so much today? Am I gonna? Okay. They want a part of this self-love that we're having right now. All right. So self-love is about accepting your imperfections. Right? I'm perfectly imperfect. And as I've told you in past ones, you know, I'm dyslexic. I went to special ed school. It was very traumatizing. It was very hard. It dealt with my self-esteem, went down. I'm also 6 feet tall, which I'll say was extremely hard when you're in middle school and high school, and you're the tallest person in your whole class, or you're the tallest person in the whole school, and you're the girl, and you want to be the cute little girl, and you are the tall, lanky girl. So ultimately, I had to come to self-love, that this is accepting myself, being dyslexic, being tall, whatever it is. This is the place, this is the cards that God gave me, and I get to work with those cards with vulnerability and acceptance and imperfection. And when I was able to have self-love, that this is how I am, then I was able to turn these situations, being tall, dyslexic, whatever, around and bring them with love and light to myself. And by doing that, bringing it to love and light to other people. And this is one reason why I ended up becoming a special ed teacher. And then I became the principal of a school and the headmaster of a school, and why I got into mindfulness and in public speaking. I realized if I'm 6 feet tall and people are going to look at me, I might as well have something to say that's worthy, right? I can't be the cute cheerleader, but I can be the public speaker with all these arms coming out and grabbing people's attention. So I took my imperfections and I made them perfect for me. And that's part of self-love. It's not just self-care, it's self-acceptance. It's huge. When you have that self-acceptance, and then when you make a mistake, and we all make mistakes, and actually mistakes are the way we do when we try new things. Of course, you try to play the piano, you try a new relationship, or you try a new job, you make mistakes. It's not a big deal. But when you have self-love, you can accept the mistakes as, oh, learning opportunity, right? Learning opportunity. And wow, your whole world changes. So when we're talking about the umbrella of self-love, we are talking about self-care. We're also talking about setting up boundaries that you need to know with people that might be toxic, or environments that might be toxic, or the TV that might be toxic, or the social media that might be toxic. And you empower yourself to say, I'm not going to be drawn in to that dopamine fix that they're trying to give me with the social media and so forth. I can turn it off, right? But that's because I love myself. That empowers me to make good choices on how I want to live my life, with love being the center of my life, not other people's opinions, not other people's ways, my authentic love from inside out, right? Okay. I keep saying, right. Are you guys in with me? Are we having like high fives on this? Okay. All right. Here's the last one I have for the myths and the truths. I really like these. Myth. Self-love is about showing the world that you're in love with yourself. Truth is, self-love is about believing in yourself and treating yourself with love. Once again, it comes back to that concept, is that when someone is real loud, like, narcissistic, or my way or the highway or something, that's a defense mechanism. That's a defense mechanism. When you're in that authentic love, that genuine love that's already in your heart, that is your God-given right, when you're in there, there is nothing to defend. You don't need to show it to the whole world. You can see it. When someone is radiating love, you can see it in their eyes. You don't have to necessarily have them throw it at you, right? You can see it in their eyes. You can see it in their kind words. When you hear people saying kindness out, and this is not always the case, but a lot of the case, when they're quiet and they're saying it in kindness out, the words people use on the outside are the words they are most likely use on the inside. So how do you get those layers that contradict that internal self-love you already have? How do you thin out those clouds so you can feel your self-love? That is a big question. And let me come down to here. I have some points. One of the best ways is to really beware. Now I have yogi hair on me, excuse me. To beware of your self-talk. How do you talk to yourself? Some people call it your storyteller mind. Some people, I like to call it my roommate mind. But all of a sudden, you're doing something, and then you're starting to tell yourself something like, damn, you messed up on that. Or, oh, I can't believe it happened again. Or, man, you're looking old. Or, and you have to become aware of how are you speaking to yourself. Because as you speak to yourself with negativity, you are then putting more and more layers over this genuine, authentic love you have inside of yourself. So, how do you thin that out? Well, think happy thoughts, or at least they don't have to be happy. Think kind thoughts. I think that's kindness is the real big place. You take what we've talked about many times, that sacred pause. So in mindfulness, being aware of your environment or being aware of your thoughts or being aware of your thinking. And then when you find out that you are now talking negative to yourself and you realize what you're doing is that you're hiding your authentic love inside of yourself, you're burying it with these negative thoughts. When you're aware of that, then you take that sacred pause and you accept that you're a work in progress. You don't beat yourself up, because if you beat yourself up for the talking negative, you're talking negative, right? We don't want to do that. You want to take that sacred pause, accept yourself and say, I'm a work in progress. And I know that I have an authentic love inside of myself. So what can I say next that brings out that? And by doing that, you're bringing out your resilience. You're bringing out self-compassion. You're bringing out compassion for other people as well. Because as you access these good feelings for yourself, they radiate into your whole mind and into your heart, and then they become part of your whole life. What you think about, you bring about. That's what my teacher, Reverend Sue, used to say. It's happening through you. It's not happening to you. And it's true. It's happening through you. So when you realize that something's happened on the outside, your perception is your choice. And that's why I love Stoicism so much, because Stoicism is really leans into your perception is your choice, and you get to decide, what do you have to control of? You have control of your own thinking. You have control of thinning out those clouds so you can bring this self-love out. It's nobody else's job. It's only yours. And we are all imperfect, so we all have to practice being imperfect perfectly, which means that you do your prayer, you do your reading, you do your meditation, right? How do you do this? You also not only take care of your mind, you take care of your body. It is your temple, your body. Be kind to your mind, be kind to your own heart, and be kind to your body. Because this is what we get to work with. This is what I have control of. And I don't even have control of my whole body. So sometimes things will happen, and it's either from genetics, or maybe it was karma because I treated my body when I was younger poorly, like skin issues and so forth. But I have control of how I'm going to react to it and what I'm going to do now. And that is empowering. That is self-love. Self-love is saying, taking responsibility for you right now, not taking responsibility for everybody else, not trying to seek approval outside, just working on yourself one moment to the next. So the Four Agreements, which is a book I love so much, always says do as best as you can, and also be impeccable with your word. The Four Agreements, those two agreements and all the agreements in it, are actually about how to nurture self-love in yourself. Be impeccable with your word to yourself. Be honest with yourself, right? Work with yourself. Allow yourself to make mistakes and grow and learn. Be impeccable with, let me move this down. Let me do this one. Learn to receive compliments with grace. What does that mean? Learn to receive compliments. When you have self-esteem that is wounded and you're not really into self-love, it's very hard sometimes to take compliments. And I'm going to have a shout out real quick to my mom. When she taught me this, I was playing basketball and we had a really good game. It was my senior year in high school and I played great. I don't know, I scored 16 points and we won the game, but I thought I should have scored 22 points. And I was kind of pouting, even though we won, even though I played well. And this mother came over and said, Lindsay, you did such a good job. And I was like, no, I didn't. And my mom heard me. And I dismissed her compliment. And my mom came over and kind of read me the riot act. How dare you dismiss someone else's compliment? You need to learn how to take it in. You did play a good game. You have to learn how to just accept it. They're giving you a gift. She gave me a gift and I shoved it back in her face. That is really a sign of me needing to work on me. So now when it comes to learning how to take compliments, self-love is saying, accept it in. Look at them, take their gift and say, thank you so much. And if it feels awkward to you, then you get to go back in a meditation and say to yourself, what do I need to work on? If someone says you're beautiful or you're kind or you're nice, and I say, thank you so much, and it's uncomfortable, then it's showing you, the universe is showing you you need to work on that because that's a cloud covering up your self-love. So you really get to learn. Well, all right, so we've come to our 30 minutes. I want to say that I have enjoyed so much doing PIP. I'm going to be doing them off and on, but not every Fridays. Please like and share them with other people. I'm doing some self-love with myself, in which I'm going to have an opportunity to do some different activities. So I'm going to learn and grow and be vulnerable in other ways. I just adore everyone that's come here. I adore New Thought Media Network. I am so grateful for them giving me this opportunity. I'm so grateful to so many people who have come live to see me, especially a shout out to Trudy and Lori and my parents and Diane. And there's just tons of people. I just appreciate Wayne. I can just go on. And Kevin, who have been here. If you want to get in touch with me, please go to centeredmoment.com or centeredmoment@gmail.com, or you can join me on Facebook. I would love to be your friend, or on Instagram. I am very thankful. Please enjoy loving yourself. Keep practicing self-love and really think about using kind words to yourself. Be aware, accept your imperfections, accept your vulnerability, and know it's okay. Everything's going to be all right, because if you work on in the inside, it radiates to the outside. Just like I always say at the airplanes, make sure you put your oxygen mask on first so you can be full of energy and full of light and full of love. And by doing that, then you can spread it out. Peace and blessings. Lots of love to all of you. I look forward to seeing you again sometime soon. And here we go. Goodbye, my friends.